Hello from my gym. I got off the treadmill to record this. So I made a list of 100 AI tech startup ideas. Pretty much, like any idea that was a success during Web 1.0, during Web 2.0 can be reimagined for this AI era. On Twitter, there's this guy that followed me and I followed back, Derek. He is reimagining the newsletter. We had newsletters, 10, 15, 20 years ago. But now he is reimagining the newsletter for the AI era. He followed me on Twitter, I followed him back. That's a very good example. So I have a list of 100 AI tech startup ideas. Of all those 100 ideas, I make a short list of 10 ideas that are most likely to achieve $1 billion valuation the fastest. And then I pose the question of these 10, which idea is most likely to go to $1 trillion valuation? In the tech startup world, we have this term unicorn. A unicorn is a tech startup that at its very launch feels like a future $1 billion company. Well, Steve Jobs was absolutely amazed and surprised when Apple crossed $200 billion in valuation. But today we casually talk about $1 trillion companies. We already have a bunch of them. I think in 10 years we'll have hundreds of them. Hundreds. So if a unicorn is $1 billion company, what is $1 trillion company? A term does not exist. I invented one. I'm calling that company a Solara. A Solara is $1 trillion tech company. So from that short list of 100 AI tech startup ideas, many of which people are already building, I create a short list of 10. And then from that 10, I pick one. Guess which? Which is that one idea that is most likely to race towards $1 trillion valuation? Marketing. When you reimagine marketing for the AI era, and my vision is, marketing has now been turned into electricity. You plug and play. That easy. Well, that's not possible today because those technologies that will make that possible don't exist today. But they will exist in about 5 years. But you have to start now. And when I talk about these big numbers, the only way I can even think about putting my personal effort into something like this is if I split my shares as the founder CEO, whereby, already 10% of the company is owned by the foundation. The company has a foundation that owns 10% of the company. Well, to that I split my shares so that I give another 10% of my shares. The wealth part goes to the foundation, and I keep the voting power because, a founder CEO has to make the moves. That's the only way I can even think about these big numbers. I don't think about expensive cars, boats, big houses. I think in terms of, funding clinics in Nepal, things like that. That's the only way I can possibly even motivate myself into working towards a grand idea like this one. It has to be about serving people in need. That is the only way I can motivate myself. But the idea is worth pursuing, and I'm busy building a team. Like if you are gonna launch a company that's gonna be race towards $1 trillion valuation, you grab a guy who has already started from scratch and built $100 million empire. And right now, that dazzling name to me is Neil Patel. The Los Angeles guy, Neil Patel, he is one of the shining stars in marketing. You can find him all over YouTube. And I pitched him over Twitter saying, Neil, come in as my co-founder. I need you to be part of this. We're going to create a $1 trillion company. I pitched this venture capitalist, Shruti Gandhi. She's in Silicon Valley. I pitched her to come in, invest, and my pitch has been over Twitter. So, and the beautiful thing about reimagining marketing for this AI era is you don't compete with OpenAI, you don't compete with Google, you don't compete with XAI, because all these big companies, they are building the tools, the picks and shovels. Well, a company like mine is not building those tools, it's using those tools to go and do the digging, dig for gold. And so, like the better they do, the better I do. Whereas with OpenAI, Google, and XAI, it's not like that. It's like if one does better, the other kind of is in a bad mood. For me, the better they do, the better I do, because I'm using their tools to tackle these big problems. And that's my advice. Like the best moat today for tech startups is go solve the biggest problems in the world, and then you don't have to worry about competition.